Hello, Ed 270 folks. This is Technology in Education. My name is Bill Hamlin. I'll be your instructor this term while we kind of explore the world of educational technology and some very specific examples of types of technology you can use in the classroom to enhance your teaching and your students' learning. My email here, if you have any questions anytime throughout the course of the term, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call, stop by my office. Other contact info is on the syllabus, so check that out, review the syllabus, send me any questions you have as we get started in this course. Okay, so let's talk for a little while about why we focus on EdTech. Why is EdTech important? And I like this quote quite a bit from science fiction writer, actually, Arthur C. Clarke. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. When we think about that, I'm sure you can think of some times where you see a new technology or you interact with a new technology, and you have this feeling that, wow, this is really quite magical. Maybe it's because it's so new that we can't really understand how it's working, or it's so complex that what it does is just absolutely astonishing. Maybe it does something really fun and neat and entertaining that we really get that cool feeling, and we like the technology that much more because it elicits that feeling within us. So why would that be important when we think about technology through the lens of education? Um, you might take a moment here to kind of think about that. Why would this idea that technology is magical, be important for education, and what would that mean for our students? Well, on kind of the face value, I guess, it inspires our students to use technology and to be interested in technology as it becomes a more everyday type of interaction. Our students are interacting with technology in new ways, um, and in ways that when we were in school would never have even been imagined. So keeping our students involved and inspired and motivated to use technology is important, but it also inspires them to engage in the content being taught. So you might be using a really cool new piece of technology that can really bridge that gap between some students. They might not be as interested in a particular topic, but when we bring technology in to really spark their interest, it might be a good way to motivate them to interact with that content. So another thing I like to bring up, when we're talking about ed tech in general and why it's important and how we can really leverage it in our teaching, I like to consider, this idea that we can make the familiar seem strange. So um, it's a pretty common idea, common phrase, but I like to kind of retool it and use it for my own purposes in ed tech. When I think about, our students may um, know something about a given topic, let's say a plant, but by using technology, microscopes, and different types of sensors and various types of scientific equipment and software and all these things playing together, we can learn about plant cells, and we can learn about photosynthesis, and really kind of take something that we have a good idea of what it might be, like a flower, and then really get down into what makes that flower, uh, you know, how does it produce its food? What makes it alive? All these different things that can be a lot more complex, and things that we might not know as much, or if from our students' perspective, they might not know as much as they would have thought. So by using technology, this familiar plant becomes this whole new realm of new information and new things to explore. So making the familiar seem strange. The other piece of this I like to consider is that not only can we learn new things about um, different objects or ideas and things like that, but we can use technology to elicit new perspectives and new ideas from our students. So perhaps this idea of making the familiar strange, perhaps they have a familiar perspective or um, opinion about a historical event or a current event, something like that. But by leveraging technology to perhaps um, make connections with people from other parts of the world, or uh, letting them use technology to create videos about a certain topic, gives them the chance to interact with that topic a lot more, and perhaps develop new perspectives that on one hand might be strange, and they might be developing new ideas for a familiar concept. So making the familiar strange. The other side of that coin would be making the strange seem familiar. So finding something that our students are brand new to and they don't know a lot about, and using technology to teach them about that topic, about that, maybe a distant galaxy or a planet that is unexplored, but using technology to explore it, and then using that to inspire them to continue learning, so that these strange things then become familiar, fueling their knowledge and adding to their understanding of the world. So this idea of kind of flipping things on their heads using technology, I think, is an important way we can leverage the power of technology and the motivational capacity of technology when we use it in our classroom. So those are just a couple kind of, I guess you could call them, theoretical bases for why we study educational technology and why we really want to embed that in our own teaching. So when we talk about educational technology, what exactly are we talking about? So I generally like to start with kind of taking a poll of what type of technology we have on us at any given time. So, for example, if I look around my office here, I have my cell phone here on my desk, I have my computer that I'm working on, my printer, I've got a camcorder off to the side here, I've got my smartwatch. Um, That appears to be everything. But if we were in class, I would ask you the same, and we would get a number of different types of technology. Smartphones, certainly other types of cell phones, not smart. I guess you could distinguish the two. Computers, laptops, desktops, tablets, iPads, Android, Kindles, all different kinds of tablets, iPods, other standalone media players like that, smartwatches, like I mentioned, fitness trackers, all different types of personal mobile technologies, car GPS. I mean, we could get kind of crazy and talk about the gamut of technologies that we might be using on an everyday basis. Different types of cameras. More often than not, our cell phones have cameras, but you may carry a digital camera or camcorder with you throughout your day. So lots of different types of technologies. Um, Similarly, I like to ask, what types of technologies have you seen out in the schools? If you have spent some time in a school volunteering, or you have friends or family in schools that you see, or maybe you're fresh into Western here, and you're not that far removed from your high school experience. So let's talk about the different types of technology we see out in the schools. And I can break it down into two different kinds. Technology that is in the school, it's supplied by the school, and then technology that our students bring with them. So for school tech, we've got certainly computers. That's a pretty standard one at this point, either in the class or in a computer lab of some kind. iPads, a lot of schools are purchasing these, investing in these, either a shared kind of mobile cart situation that different classes can use at different times, or in some cases, school districts are buying iPads for every single student in these one-to-one programs. Cameras, a lot of schools invest in digital cameras, camcorders to put in the hands of their students for different projects. And certainly smartboards are becoming very common, and a lot of our teachers in the Willamette Valley are using smartboards, so we're seeing that become more prevalent. Apple TVs or other streaming boxes, Roku, the new Amazon Fire TV, the Chromecast, all different kinds of streaming boxes to either throw your laptop or even the iPad screen up on the projector on the TV for the students to see, or to stream content, YouTube if it's allowed, and other types of internet-based media services. And then certainly specialized software on computers, iPads, all of that kind of thing, specific to different content areas, grade levels. Certainly, for example, science and math have very specific software that they use, drafting software, CAD, things like that. Special ed has a lot of specialized software that they use with their students. So a lot of that is in-house in the school that the teachers kind of facilitate the student interactions with. So what do our students bring then? And this one I find more interesting, and considering how we can use the technology that students bring to class, I find intriguing and really important to motivate our students and really leverage new types of technology in ways that maybe our somewhat aging school tech might not allow. So let's take a look. So certainly, in middle school, high school, and I guess in some cases elementary, our students do have cell phones, and we'll talk a little bit later about benefits versus challenges and things like that. But when we're just kind of taking a poll of the technology we see in classrooms, cell phones are certainly there. iPods, media players, a lot of these we've already mentioned. Nintendo, like DS or PSPs, different types of handheld video games. These ones are big because there are games out there that could be used in an educational setting. And again, we'll talk benefits versus challenges here in a minute. iPads, laptops, things like that. Students have their own. Some students bring them to school, and we could start considering how we could let those students use them in meaningful ways. Graphing calculators I threw in simply because when I was in school and I needed a graphing calculator, I can remember using it to play games and getting off task. So lots of different types of technologies, and I'm sure I haven't thought of them all here. So kind of think about that yourself. What have you seen out there? So what are some of the benefits of technology in the classroom, whether it's things the school is providing or technology our students are bringing in? New ways to collaborate, either there within the classroom, with other classrooms in the school, with other schools around the country, other parts of the world. I mean, it could be as big as you want it to be. Collaborate with parents. Technology certainly makes it easier to communicate and kind of share information about students, with students, for students, things like that. Communication as a teacher with your administration, with other teachers is certainly easier, but then creating your own website for students to access and parents to access makes it really easy to open the channels of communication. New opportunities for research. I mean, having the internet in your classroom and in some cases in the hands of your students at all times makes it possible for your students to find information at the drop of a hat. I mean, it's crazy how fast our students can find information, and so when we talk about challenges, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but certainly a benefit is the wealth of knowledge that technology can bring us as far as research goes. Multimedia, I mean, this is huge. We can use video and audio and interactive games and things like that to teach rather than static textbooks and worksheets and things like that. New methods of instruction and assessment. So as a teacher, you have this toolbox that you can fill with different types of technology that you can use in different settings. One technology isn't always going to work for every situation, but knowing that you have a specific technology that you can use in this particular assignment or this particular unit, but then you've got this other piece of technology that works very well with a different lesson. You can really mix it up and help can differentiate your instruction and give your students new ways of expressing their understanding of the content. So no longer are they limited to essays or multiple choice tests. They could create a video, they could create a podcast, they could create a website, they could do so many different things using technology, and it's getting easier and easier to do that. So, in this idea of differentiating your instruction, you have new ways to reach all different types of learning styles, ability levels, different types of students, and by utilizing technology, you can really make sure that all of your students are succeeding. And again, no one technology is going to work for every student in every lesson, but having a different toolbox and different types of technologies that you can apply to different students as needed really lets you make sure that your students are all succeeding. So some of the challenges of tech in the classroom, and I added one here at the end of my list that snuck by me. Anyway, we've got cost of technology. That's almost always the number one challenge as far as upfront cost, maintaining it, updating it, upgrading it, training teachers and students how to use it. A lot of cost there, and time as well. Distraction. I mean, technology. Sure, you've got that initial inspiration and motivation, but a lot of technology can be a distraction and can be used in ways that the teacher might not want it to be used. So you really got to kind of stay on top of your students and make sure they're using it the way it's supposed to be used, and kind of cut down on the distraction. Privacy and safety is huge, especially with access to the internet. All of these devices that are easily, connected, and this idea that our students have access to the wealth of information online, but at the same time, we need to make sure that they're safe and their privacy is protected. This idea for using tech for tech's sake is often attractive. You've got a new piece of technology. It does some really cool stuff. It's entertaining. It's new and shiny, and you really want to be the first person to use it, and you think you can make a really good use of it. But in some cases, it may not be the best tool for the job, just because it's the newest, fanciest piece of tech. So really, kind of in some cases, waiting it out, making sure it does fit needs of students and things like that, can be more important than being kind of the first one to use it or something like that. Access to tech and experience with tech varies greatly. So the idea that if we bring technology to the classroom and the school is kind of supplying it, then great. All of your students in that classroom have access to the tech. But if we're going to ask our students to do anything outside of class with technology, we need to understand that not everybody's going to have the same access to technology. And then also when we think about what technology our students bring to school with them, that's going to vary greatly as well. And then also experience with technology is going to be different. You may have a student who is even more experienced with technology than you, and then you might have a student who has never touched a computer in his or her life. So that range is going to be huge as well. So knowing that and being able to support your students as they learn the new technologies is very important as well. So all of this in mind is kind of what is going to drive us through this course. Each week we'll introduce a new technology and we'll kind of begin that week 2. And when we introduce a new technology, I kind of want you to think in the back of your mind, what are the benefits of this technology? How could I use this in the classroom in meaningful ways? But on the same token, what are the challenges I might face when I'm trying to use this technology with my students? And then also think about some of those more theoretical things. Is this piece of technology going to help me make the familiar strange and the strange familiar? Am I going to be able to help my students navigate that process of learning new things and gaining new perspectives? And how can I facilitate that? And then some of our technologies are fairly common and may not seem that magical, but maybe there's a way that you could use that technology that is really interesting and inspiring and magical. So kind of think of these theoretical foundations as we go through the class and kind of reflect on those for each of our different technologies that we'll encounter this term. So for this week then, getting started, we're going to kind of lay some groundwork for what we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the course. And really what your assignment is this week is to create your own Ed270 website. Now you're going to be using a kind of template-driven website to create your website. So you may have seen things like Wix or WordPress or Weebly or Squarespace, whatever free template website you would like to use is fine. Generally, I have the most luck with Wix, and when my students use Wix, we're able to do everything we need to do, whereas some of the other ones don't have all the same features. But that's up to you. So once you find one you like, you'll want to go create an account and then create a website. You're going to want a homepage with your name, your picture, and then your philosophy of education with an emphasis on technology. Then you're going to want to create a standards page. And on this standards page, you're going to want to put a link to the NETS standards from ISTE, and I'll post a link to those on the Moodle site. And then you're going to want to list the NETS teacher standards, simply 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, however many there are, and then list the name of each standard. And I'll show you an example here. And we're going to add to this throughout the course of the term. So those 2 pages on your website are all you need to do for the website this week. There will be some other videos and things to watch on Moodle, but let me show you a quick example before I let you go of what your website should look like. So if you use Wix, your interface will look something like this. This is an example of a home page that you might have. Your name, yours might say, Bill's Ed270 website or something like that. Picture, and then here's where you would put your philosophy of education. You can update all of the contact info, play around with how it looks, that kind of thing. Have some fun with getting creative. Make your website look pretty good. but then you'll also want to be sure to include a standards page. And again, on that standards page, you'll want to list the ISTE standards for teachers, the 5 of them here, and then post a link to the standards. And again, it'll be on Moodle. You could probably just copy and paste it from Moodle. So the other page, if you wanted to add it this week, you could, but you can wait until week 2 if you'd like. And that's the assignments page, and this is what it would look like. Yours would most likely just be blank to begin with until we add some of these other assignments. And at the end of the term, yours will look something like this. You'll have all of your assignments posted here. So with that, check the Moodle site. It's going to look something like this. You'll have the syllabus up top, week 1 assignments and activities here. I'll be adding to this today. And then again, remember, week 2, we'll be meeting at our normal day, time, location on Friday, and we'll kind of pick up from there. So let me know if you have any questions, email, call, drop by my office, whatever is easiest for you. And I look forward to seeing you in week 2.